What makes a sport, and how to make some sports better, coming up next on Sports Limelight.
The following transmission is brought to you by Taste and Decency.
Sports Limelight, how's it going, Drew?
Bill, it's going well. It's going well.
Excellent.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Today we're going to discuss what is a sport.
You know, it's taken about 80 plus episodes. We are on a sports show. Why not define what a sport is and know what we're talking about here?
Another episode that it's amazing we've gone this long.
Right?
So where do you draw the line? Can you give kind of a dictionary definition for what is a sport?
That's tough to do because no matter what anyone says, I think somebody's going to give an example and it's going to be either one way or the other. Like I could say, a sport is any type of competition. Mm-hmm. And then I could say, what about chess? You know?
Yeah. Then I would say, oh, well, poker is a competition.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take a shot at it off the bat here.
All right.
Mixing two sports metaphors right there. Any competition that requires two of the three, speed, agility, and dexterity. How about that?
Okay.
Or strength, maybe 3 out of 4, some minimum requisite amount of these attributes. And you list off speed, agility, strength
and
coordination.
Okay. So would competitive cheerleading be a sport?
You led with a really good one right in the middle, right at the beginning there. Yes, it's of very little consequence and importance, but that's not in my definition, so I'd say yes. Even though you're cheering for a sport. It's a sport within a sport. It's like Inception, where it's a dream within a dream.
Right? So would you consider auto racing a sport?
No. I'd put that in the bin with golf, poker. Maybe not poker. Let's save poker. Golf, billiards, auto racing, bowling, yes,
okay.
Where it's a competition, it's a game, it's a difficult game. It's difficult to do well. It's a skill for sure, but it doesn't require athleticism. And I think if I can loop back and add that to my definition, maybe as the first thing mentioned, it needs athleticism to be a sport.
Okay. So like gymnastics?
Yeah,
that
sport.
Would be a sport, yeah, okay. Now, some people think that a sport has some sort of like a scoring system or anything that has to be judged is not a sport.
Yeah.
Because you're leaving it up to somebody else.
Like any boxing match that doesn't end in a knockout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's difficult. It can leave you open to scandal and corruption, for the judges we've seen in the Olympics. And
right.
Every couple of years, a boxing match will have an outrageous judging. So it's a big problem to be sure.
And if you go by that definition of gymnastics and diving isn't a sport because it's being judged and
right.
not technically won by the athletes themselves,
yeah,
then you can make an argument that baseball isn't a sport.
Because there's judging by the umpires?
Yes. The umpire, I think, more or less essentially determines the score by calling a strike or whatnot.
Certainly the most out of the 4 major sports, football, basketball, and hockey being the 3 others.
Right, yeah. The umpire is a judge on every play, so to speak.
Even with instant replay there and available. The outcome has to be determined on the field, yet there also has to be officiating. So how much until the outcome can always be in doubt when you say, well, it's just because this, official judged it this way.
Right. So what do you think is the prototypical sport or the perfect sport, so to speak?
NFL, tackle football.
Yeah? Why do you say that?
I think it incorporates the most different things, different attributes that you would need to be a great athlete.
Okay.
And it's the ultimate test of will, man versus man, and, and so forth of things you would hear with a booming voice on NFL films.
Yeah. Booming, yeah. Yeah, plus they got all those cool slow motion replays.
Oh,
That's what makes it a sport right there.
Yes, there's no equivalent MLB or NBA films with what NFL Films has done.
Yeah. If I were to rank which sport is more sport than not, if I can say it like that.
Sure.
I would have to say basketball would be more of a sport because there's no judging in the score. Like I think a NFL referee can change a play. Obviously, we've seen last year with the Seahawks and Packers.
Mm-hmm.
But in basketball, the ball is either it goes in the hoop or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like there's no.
Yeah, you can't judge that.
Yeah.
Although you could say that most touchdowns are so obvious. It's a guy running in rather than reaching over the pylon, but also flying out of bounds,
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I'll come back with how NBA officiating, how they massage the outcomes without really, it's just like putting your finger on a scale, and not a big scale, like a produce scale in the grocery store, just enough to sway the momentum and get what you need.
So then the ultimate sport would just be no officiating. Just straight up,
Wow.
first to 10 or whatever.
Chess has no officiating, so we're back to that.
I know, right? Yeah, it's crazy how what you can define as sport.
Yeah.
Or what one does define as a sport.
Now, on this kind of broad topic of sports, do you have any ideas or concepts to make our beloved sports better?
You mean like take things away or implement things into sports?
Rule changes.
Let's see, what would I do? While I'm thinking, how about we start with you, Bill?
Okay, I'd be glad to. The first thing I would go after is in basketball, NBA in college and high school, just the same, where you can foul all you need to keep getting the ball back and trading free throws for possessions. If you've got a minute left in the game, or you can even start this process with more than a minute left in the game, if you're down by, say, 4 or more points, figuring that less than 4, you can still try to get a legit defensive stop and get the ball back. Where you just foul the guy, as soon as possible. He shoots 2 free throws, you get the ball back. I know every sport is different and you can't do this all the time, but there's no comparable for any other sport in this. If your Buffalo Bills, Drew, are leading my New York Giants, say 20-17 with under 2 minutes left and the Giants are out of timeouts, the Giants can't just keep committing penalties and get the ball back and then, have a chance to answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
The Bills can take a knee 3 times and it's over.
Right. Well, I know that happens a lot in college because when they get fouled, some of the free throws are 1-and-1.
Yeah.
So if you miss the first one, then it's a live ball. So that happens a lot in college. But in the pros, like you said, it's like strategy, part of the game. It doesn't happen in any other sport.
Yeah, it rarely works, yet it's done so often. And it's coming. Like, oh, here we go with the fouls.
I think they should give way to pass interference on football. I think it once the ball's in the air and it's 2 guys going at it, just let them go at it.
Ooh. So that's kind of pre-1978 rules before they changed the, you can only hit him within 5 yards.
Yeah, that's a stupid rule too, I think. If the ball's in the air, then I think that is the perfect time to keep your opponent from catching it, right?
Ooh, like NFL Blitz,
yeah,
the video game.
I mean, you can't push him while the quarterback still has the ball because then his route messed up. But once the ball's in the air, it should be like 500. Just nobody, and whoever catches it deserves it.
So the defensive backs could hit the receivers.
Oh, you mean like before they catch the ball, hit him?
Yeah,
like when they're in the air or something.
Yeah.
Well, now that turns into a safety issue.
Yeah, that was my first thought of the way things are going now.
Maybe you can't tackle him, but you can like grab him or something. That's true. Yeah, I mean, you really have to look at it in all directions there. What about? Didn't you think about not taking away the kickoffs?
That was brought up. Yeah.
Would you do that?
Oh.
Or would you do away with that?
I think you have to keep kickoffs.
Yeah.
It's such an iconic play that it's made its way into regular vernacular. Like, let's kick off this meeting.
Right.
It so signifies the beginning. Definitely don't change it to what the XFL did, where they'd just put the ball in midfield and let 2 players crash into each other trying to get it.
Right. Classic. Well, baseball is kind of slow. Can we speed that up? Maybe a pitching limit or something?
I would love that. A pitch clock, like the shot clock or the play clock in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Certainly.
And you're only allowed like 2 throws back to first to hold the runner.
That'd be great too.
Now,
Of
didn't
course,
you
then on the third one, the guy would know that the base runner would know that the ball can't be thrown over there, so he'd steal. So
Right.
they'd have to work on that. Maybe
a
set a
fake
limit,
throw, yeah.
a total limit in the game rather than per at bat. Like you only get 10 throws to first for the entire game.
Oh, okay. Well, then you could throw your 2 balls to the first, and then the guy will try to steal, but then you fake a pitch and throw it to second.
Ooh.
Put him in a pickle. Now, you had one earlier tonight. I forgot. It was like intentional base on balls or something.
Yes, my friend Andrew came up with an idea that if Albert Pujols is at the plate, and let's say there's one out, that'd be a good time for this, for the defense. If you want to intentionally walk the guy, you're depriving the fans of that moment, to compare to another sport. In football, you can't say, oh, Chris Johnson is going to take this handoff. We'll just give you 5 free yards instead because we don't want him touching the ball. He's dangerous. Mm-hmm. So it's a way of taking a guy out of the game. Andrew's idea was, yes, you can intentionally walk the guy, put a runner on first, but Pujols is still at the plate. And it's good for the pitching team because they set up the double play. Mm-hmm. But you don't get to avoid pitching to a guy when it's his turn to hit.
Yeah, so the only thing you would have to worry about is the logistics of it. Like, does that consider an at bat? What if he gets a hit? Is he 1 for 1? What if they walk him on accident?
Right.
That same play, that same at bat.
The ball's just missed by a little, and
Right.
Pujols has a keen eye and takes 4 straight balls.
Right.
So it's not perfect.
Right.
None of these fixes are perfect. Do you have an idea of what you would do for my conundrum with the NBA or with basketball? The fouling problem at the end of the game?
Oh, right. Well, how about maybe adding in a technical foul? Or let's say you get like 3 team fouls within 2 minutes. Or 2 team fouls, so that after you foul the third time, it's 2 free throws and the team gets the ball back.
I like that. You can still do it a few times, but it puts an overall limit on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, either that or 1 free throw and the ball back, or
you have to
3 free throws. Or
you have to put your worst player in.
Oh man, some guys could extend their careers by a lot for that.
Oh, by not playing after that?
Yeah, like you could still keep Brad Lowhouse on the bench, knowing that he's coming.
And put Larry Krystkowiak in.
Yep.
Randy Brewer's elbows. Oh, I got it. If you foul too many times, Randy Brewer gets to elbow you in the ribcage.
That's incentive enough right there to knock it off. Your team's fouling too much in the last minute. Well, quit it.
What about like offsides or like icing in hockey? I don't know what that means. Like,
I don't know much about it either.
oh, I think I know what it is. It's like cherry picking. They don't allow that in hockey.
The puck has to cross the line before another person.
Mm-hmm. But that's kind of like the point. You want the guy to get the puck in the thing.
Yeah.
So why not? Shouldn't that to be a ploy where you have a guy like, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah, I'm open.
I'm not playing defense, so when you get the puck, throw it over here.
Yeah, I wish I knew enough about hockey to have a diagnosis on how big a problem that is.
Yeah. We're called the 3 Sports Limelight.
Yeah. Well, we'll call this one an episode. We didn't quite solve every sports problems, but we tried.
Yeah. And if you guys have any sports limelight problems, please feel free to let us know.
Yes, drop down in the comments section anytime.
Right down below. See my finger down below. Maybe one of us will like it, and you'll be the top liked comment.
With a number 1 next to your comment. Well, thanks for joining us as always. We'll talk to you soon. You can follow the show on Twitter at Sports Limelight. Check out our blogs, mcgoodness.blogspot.com and dangerousdollar.blogspot.com. And, of course, the YouTube channel, youtube.com/bdavids28.